Welcome back, my violent friends, to a rapid-fire recap of Aljamain Sterling defeating my boy, Youssef Zalal. Pour one out for the homie, Youssef Zalal. We almost had a fun finisher at featherweight with the grappling, with the submissions, but no, goofiness, awkwardness, and the funk wins the day. Aljamain Sterling looking the best he's ever looked. I really didn't predict that. It seems like him and Movsar Evloev just have a different level of physicality, and that's who's going to dominate featherweight for a couple years, man. Get ready for it. We have Volk, we have Movsar, Aljamain. They are going to cook everybody with physicality and game plans. Sorry I wanted a new prospect at featherweight, but it is what it is. Am I salty about this one? Yeah, man. I thought I was really on the money with the Youssef Zalal pick, dude. He was on good momentum. I thought a long-necked wrestler like Aljamain would get stuck in some bad positions, man, or Youssef Zalal could just catch him and hurt him on the feet, but he went for his trademark intercepting knee, but all credit to Aljamain, man. He's a really intelligent martial artist, and I definitely slept on his fight IQ. Like, the way he predicted the knees of Youssef Zalal and kicked out his other leg and swept him down, that was genius, okay? I thought he would really struggle with Youssef Zalal's dangerous guard off his back, throwing up triangles. It's his world down there, friend, but no, Aljamain, he's been here for so long. Youssef Zalal just did nothing to really freak Aljo out, like nothing with the striking, nothing with the grappling. Aljamain Sterling was just a step ahead of Youssef Zalal in seemingly every position, so Youssef Zalal will be back just like the main event curse is. I don't know what to tell you. My co-main events stay hitting, but I cannot predict a goddamn main event to save my fucking life. We're down bad. Hopefully we can break the curse come UFC Perth. Predictions dropping soon. What are the next fights for both here? Well, Aljamain Sterling called out Movsar Evloev for a rematch, and Volk, you're not getting Volk, and the Movsar Evloev rematch, I personally really don't care to see. We already know who's better. No finishes will ever happen in that fight. It's two ultra-physical wrestlers basically just canceling each other out, so fuck that fight. Get Aljamain in there with Yair Rodriguez and get Yair out of the top 10. I think Aljamain will school him with takedowns. Maybe it's Gene Silva versus Yair next, but we don't know that for sure, so I'd like to see Aljamain Sterling take on Yair Rodriguez. Even though he's just on a different type of momentum entirely, Yair just sits there in the rankings, does fuck all. Or you do Aljamain Sterling versus Lerone Murphy. I think that one realistically will happen next because they had like some Twitter beef at one point. They're like neck and neck in the rankings. They have a little bit of history, so that's next for Aljamain Sterling. For Youssef Zalal, my boy, pour one out for Youssef Zalal. Herculean effort here. Like, people are saying, oh, masterclass. No, dude, he stepped in there with a former bantamweight GOAT, the former bantamweight GOAT, and went toe-to-toe. Lost the fight 4-1, but won a round, had some close rounds. It is what it is, man. He'll be back. Those are the fights you grow from. Had a couple of clutch submissions. The striking. Youssef Zalal's striking, it lacks power, okay? It really does lack power. I was sort of living on a hope and a prayer with the intercepting knees and the clinch work, the elbows. It didn't happen. It really didn't happen. Aljamain Sterling, too wise with it, too intelligent, too tenured. Who does Youssef Zalal get next? Because he's beat Josh Emmett, he's beat Calvin Kattar, these unks, but do we still reward his efforts here? Do you give him maybe a Kevin Vallejos we can do? Or maybe Youssef Zalal, Aaron Pico is a matchup we didn't know we needed. Maybe that one's a fun style clash. So yeah, I'd like to see Youssef Zalal take a step back here. Definitely shot for the stars in this one in his first main event, but absolutely no stock lost. When you go up against champions, you either win or you learn. So Youssef Zalal, God, the cope's heavy. But seriously, Kevin Vallejos, Aaron Pico are fun matchups involving Youssef Zalal. Up next was the unofficial co-main event in my world. Alexander Hernandez, Rafa Garcia. This was the best version of Rafa Garcia I've ever seen. Like, I know he comes from the good gym, Bloodline MMA with Cub Swanson, Larian Douglas, these guys, and I still picked against him. What am I thinking? Yeah, man, he looked much improved. Rafa Garcia is an inactive lightweight, so it's like hard to gauge his levels of improvement because he spends a lot of time working on his craft in the gym, so I get it, but dude, he shut down Alexander Hernandez completely. Very defensively sound, nice snappy jab, the takedowns were money. He even dropped this really creative special move that I want to highlight. He sprawled Hernandez's takedown, and Cub Swanson or Juan Archuleta from the corner said, slam his head, and he actually used the canvas, used the bottom of the cage as a weapon, and like put all his body weight on the head of Hernandez, and like broke his nose into the cage. This was an underrated slam that like went unnoticed. That's an awesome little wrestling attack after you sprawl a takedown. That was crafty. So yeah, Rafa Garcia, in hindsight, way better fight IQ, more options, wins the fight. Fights next for both. Rafa Garcia, we could give him maybe the winner or loser of Grant Dawson, Mateusz Rebecki, or Chris Duncan. I think those are all good step-ups for Rafa Garcia here. Let's book Alexander Hernandez versus Gage G-Money Young. Yeah, Alexander Hernandez is slowly turning into an unk who's probably going to slip out of the sport, the UFC, so let's build up Gage G-Money Young, man. He is a rising lightweight. Only losses to Quillen Salkild and Evan Elder, two really, really good guys. I think this is also just a fun fight. Gage G-Money Young, Alexander Hernandez, make it happen. And in the co-main event, the cheek-off of the ages, immense cheekage on display, Joselyne Edwards taking home the win. We'd said she'd get it done. Norma Dumont sort of just floating at the top of the bantamweight rankings. Easy to do that. Women's bantamweight is the worst it's ever been. I'm serious. Kayla Harrison's going to dominate this until she retires. Juliana Pena, Raquel Pennington, this division is trash. So 11th ranked Joselyne Edwards climbs all the way to number 3, taking out Norma Dumont just by throwing combinations, just like training like a dude. Like Joselyne Edwards, man, she's very, very physical. She has a lot of experience, and she's a finisher. She throws in combination. Great boxing from her. Actually cheeks mogged Norma Dumont, which is crazy to say. She is the cake queen moving forward. Didn't really get bullied in this fight. Won on the feet. In the early rounds, it was tough. She went for a Dricus du Plessis lateral drop and completely just fell on bottom and, you know, made it a close round. But by the end of the round, she did reverse. So didn't end the round on bottom. Reversed back to top position. Love to see that. You're still getting manhandled by Harrison, is what it is. Fights to make next for Joselyne Edwards. It's going to be a layup, whoever it is. We can go Ketlin Vieira. We can go Raquel Pennington Pena. All layups. Joselyne Edwards will smoke them all. They're trash. As for Norma Dumont, we need to keep her, you know, in the spotlight. She's caked up massively. She can fight Aylin Perez, another cake monster. I think that fight's fun. They've had some trash talk, so and it makes sense rankings-wise. So that's the next fights for both of those two ladies. Next fight up, we need to give Davey Grant his props. 40 years old at bantamweight, cracking like a welterweight, man. I sleep on Davey Grant. We picked Charles Jourdain to destroy him, and he did. But that's Charles Jourdain, an insanely creative and tenured striker. If you're not that, you're going to really struggle against Davey Grant, who doesn't overcomplicate things, just stands in the pocket and throws power consistently. Heavy bombs, heavy calf kicks, having a blast through the whole thing, dude. It's mainly, I mean, we say this all the time. We say the last thing to go is the power on these unks, but it's also the fight IQ just compounding over time. Like, Davey Grant has actually been here for so long putting on fun fights. I really thought Adrian Martinetti would swarm him with volume and sort of like do a classic, like let me get a robbery win over Davey Grant with volume, because you can do that, but no, dude. Davey Grant stung him up badly, destroyed his front leg, his calf early into the fight, was forcing Martinetti to switch stances, and that's not something he's probably had to do before. He looked very uncomfortable as this fight went on. Getting Davey Grant in your debut is tough work for Martinetti, but he'll be back. Who do we give Davey Grant? Because I think he's just content on smashing up prospects and getting like free paychecks, but dude, he needs to crack the rankings at some point. It's actually so disrespectful how he hasn't yet in his career. I know he lost to Marlon Vera quite badly, but he's just unlucky. Davey Grant's just gravy. He is gravy. He's just unlucky when it comes to actually climbing the rankings and like gaming the system. You know, he's not a big personality, but his fights are fucking phenomenal. So get this man ranked now. Give him Raoni Barcelos, who is now recently ranked. We're going to talk about him next. If you want to have like a crafty vet unk off, we could do that. Or, you know what you do? You finally give Davey Grant mad respect for his career, and you give him, I'm talking a big shot up those rankings, like a David Martinez. That would be sweet. David Martinez is literally in the top 10 because he beat Marlon Vera, and is Mexican, so like he got this massive push. So disrespectful to a guy like Grant, who's been holding it down for years. 40 years of age, destroying young prospects. So I want to see that fight as well. Sort of a fast-track option for my man Davey Grant. And lastly, let's talk about the man himself. Raoni Barcelos, I said it in predictions, he haunts my dreams for, taking Peyton Talbot's undefeated record, gray hair, ripped as fuck, giga black belt. His grappling is so good. And he got rocked at the start of this fight, and I was about to just no way Montel Jackson knocks him out in one round and just makes Peyton Talbot look just terrible. But no, that's not what happened. He obviously recovered and just mogged Montel Jackson, who is completely malnourished. The physicality diff was just night and day here. It was a close fight. Raoni Barcelos doesn't get a whole lot of useful striking done, doesn't really put big damage on his opponent, but he does cook with the grappling time and time again. What are we going to do with this guy? Because he's old and he's not promotable, but he's so good. He's on good momentum. Garbrandt, Simone, Montel Jackson, Peyton Talbot, this is such a good win streak. If anybody else had this win streak, they would be getting top 10, top 5. It's so disrespectful just because he's old and has gray hair. The fights to make next, though, hear me out. Gimme Raoni Barcelos versus Raul Rosas Jr. This is the ultimate fraud check waiting to happen if you know you know. And it's a win-win matchup, really. Hear me out. Raul Rosas Jr., if he beats Raoni Barcelos, that is actually a phenomenal win for him in terms of his career. But I actually think that's a winnable fight for Barcelos, dude. That's wrestler versus BJJ. That is a fireworks grappling matchup at bantamweight, so make that happen next. As for Montel Jackson, not a whole lot of stock lost. He is always going to be malnourished, but he has heavy hands. He can knock you out. Make him versus Farid Basharat. They're right next to each other in the bantamweight rankings at 14 and 15. You make that fight next. Yeah, that was Aljamain Sterling versus Youssef Zalal. The main event curse is back. I'm gonna do something to myself, but UFC Perth approaches, my violent friends. So predictions are dropping soon. We've got a massive Paramount card to break down for you guys. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.